Hello, I am Matt Danner, assistant winemaker at King Estate, and we are tasting the Steiner Block Pinot Gris and the Croft Pinot Gris, upcoming release for the Tower Club. Both from 2018, part of the spring release.
And I'm Barrett Rosteck, associate winemaker at King Estate, and I'm looking forward to sharing these Pinot Gris with you.
So I love the ability that we have to showcase how Pinot Gris in the Willamette Valley does such a great way of illustrating a sense of place, and that we're able to present Pinot Gris from such a wide range of different sites across the valley, and compare that to how we make Pinot Gris in a little bit cooler site, higher elevation, versus some warmer sites in the valley, different vineyards, different viticulture methods. I think it really shows just how diverse Pinot Gris is as a wine. I think it's very rare in Oregon or for the industry to have such a wide range of Pinot Gris.
Yeah, the wide selection of lots to play with and choose from and get to express. And yeah.
What I really love about this Steiner block is the old founding blocks are what make up this wine, and that it's planted in 1992, so it's some of the oldest Pinot Gris we have on the property. It's own rooted.
It's own rooted, yeah.
Yeah, so this is always just those single two blocks, so it's a very expression of down to the block level of that particular wine.
And this one made in the winemaking style we are doing, trying to follow the Steiner philosophy to very low impact and just letting it be what it is.
Well, this wine is a tribute to Rudolf Steiner, the founder of the biodynamic style of agriculture. Biodynamic is a little bit of, just a brief history, is a different approach to more industrial types of farming, going back to the early 1900s when tried to look at finding another way of farming that was less invasive and maybe less heavy-handed on the agriculture, kind of going back to nature and looking more at what is a healthy farm, and what do we need to do to make a healthy farm. And so that's been our commitment for many years, to be sustainable and to farm the land in a healthy way. And so making this wine in the biodynamic method allows us to really pay tribute to that respect for the land.
Yeah, the estate was organic from 2002 with the King family's commitment to sustainability anyway, and so the transition to biodynamic in 2016 was relatively painless.
So the Steiner Block Pinot Gris is hand harvested, whole cluster, brought to the crush pad where it's loaded into the press, and the free run and the light press is sent to stainless steel. And from there it's racked to the concrete egg, and where it begins fermentation as flavors develop, and we're watching the sugar levels as it progresses through fermentation. I think we definitely notice enhanced texture and mouthfeel from the egg, that it helps develop more lees stirring, so there becomes a convection current that happens during because of the shape of the egg. Yeah, so it lifts and suspends lees throughout the fermentation, which really helps develop more mouthfeel and more texture.
Yeah, the 2018 vintage in general started off relatively cool and wet, which was nice to replenish some water in our water table. Rather warm year, not too many heat spikes, but the average temperature was pretty high, and it was relatively dry throughout the summer. But because there weren't as many heat spikes, it also was able to cool off at night to let the vines rest, which developed some really great ripeness across Oregon in general.
We were able to have so much more flexibility, and we could wait to pick when it was absolutely ripe and the flavors were where we wanted them to be. I think it allows us to showcase the wine in its best way.
Yeah. Yeah, I would take a lot, many more 2018s. The Steiner Pinot Gris, kind of a light-bodied white that has nice aromatic, some floral honeysuckle, some. I'm liking the citrus notes.
A lime zest and some white peach, maybe peach skin.
Yeah, peach skin, and there's a minerality. There's a nice acidity that flows through this one. Yeah.
It's very soft in the entrance, and then there's some volume and weight in the mid palate.
Yeah.
But the acid balances it all out.
The acid at the end finishes really cleanly and kind of crisp.
I think it gives it length and really great food pairing wine. I think it helps it match so well with such a wide variety of different foods. Looking forward to sharing this with the Tower Club members for the spring release.
So the Croft Vineyard is located further north, Mount Central Willamette Valley, between Dallas and Corvallis.
Even though Croft is not very far away, it's a little bit of a lower site, a little bit lower elevation. It ripens maybe a little bit earlier, slightly warmer summer temperatures, but shows similarities yet very striking differences. And this is actually the first year that we ever received Pinot Gris from Croft. So we've had a long partnership with Croft, and they've been a great partner for us, and we're able to showcase such their Pinot Noir and their Sauvignon Blanc have been a part of our wine portfolio for a long time.
Definitely one of my favorite Pinot Noirs. And so yeah, I was very excited when I learned we were getting Pinot Gris from them as well.
I think we're really excited to be able to bring this in, showcasing just how elegant and refined this wine is, and just I think it shows just the amount of care that takes place at Croft. So Croft Pinot Gris, it starts as a whole cluster hand-picked in the vineyard, and then it's brought early morning to the winery, and it'll be loaded into our press where we will collect the free run and the light pressing, and it'll go to stainless steel where it will rack into another stainless steel tank, and we'll start fermentation. Fermentation will be cool, it'll be about 55 degrees Fahrenheit, and it will slowly progress over about a 60 to 90 day period. Slight difference with the Steiner block where we are using a commercial yeast. So we're using something that's been selected for certain fermentation kinetics, for fermentation nutrient levels, and so we have a little bit more control with which type of yeast we want to use for the Croft, whereas the Steiner block is biodynamic, so we're going to use the native yeast. We're also allowed to use organic nutrients in the Croft, which is very similar to the Steiner. Allow the yeast nutrients that they need, but without giving them chemical or synthetic nutrients. So it's allowed to still express what makes Croft unique, being an organic vineyard, being organic viticultural practices. And after fermentation's done, usually about after that 2-month period, for the Croft, we'll keep it on the lees, we'll let it age for about 6 months. We'll slowly stir the wine, helping to build mouthfeel and complexity and more depth. And then it will eventually be racked and prepared for bottle.
So with the Croft Pinot Gris, I get more of a pear and melon in the mid palate, and there's still a very rich texture. There's acid underlying it, but it doesn't seem very sharp at all. Whereas the Steiner it has a little more of that honeysuckle aroma in there. I get more of a peach skin and minerality out of the profile.
Yeah, there's a pear and cloves and then lemon curd in the Croft that I think is I just love that it's just a subtle difference in a part of the Willamette Valley, and you can see such a rich differences yet like subtle similarities between these two.
And it gives a nice spectrum of what's available in a Pinot Gris grape to show different fruit and different minerality, different acids.
These Pinot Gris are, I think, a showcase of how King Estate is a leader and can source such a diverse range of wines from around the state and showcase what Oregon and Willamette Valley Pinot Gris is and what it can be. This has been a pleasure getting to taste these wines, and I'm looking forward to getting to share these outstanding Pinot Gris with our Tower Club members for the spring release. Cheers.